right, and here's the video review for the Professor Heisenberg. This is the King's Claw and the Royal Arsenal set. We'll focus on the claws first, but we will get to the Royal Arsenal. It gives them more G1 guns here shortly. But you can see in this situation, he doesn't fit in camera. I'll try to pull back and show him when it's all done. This is the hand with the claws already installed, and you can see it gives him some nice pointy fingers if that's your thing. I know Dr. Killinger did a set as well with Megatron 31, and it really depends on what you're going for, because I feel like the Dr. Killinger set looks a little better aesthetically because you're knocking out this pin and replacing this whole fingertip with one solid piece of claw, and so it doesn't bulk up the finger really much. It just kind of gives them a pointy tip, and it is a little bit more pleasing if you're going to leave them on permanently. If you just want something, if you don't want to have to disassemble your figure, if you don't want to risk cracking any of the joints by hammering out pins, it shouldn't happen. The pins push out very easily, but it is possible. We've had some people complain about, I've seen some people complain about cracked joints and stuff. So it's just a concern. If you don't feel like up to doing something like that, this is a nice little just clip-on set to give them claws. And again, if you look at it from the side, you can kind of see where the finger sits inside there. From the front, from the top, it's not quite as noticeable. They do still fold up. You still retain all the functionality of the hand. Come on, stand up here. I'm not playing with you. All the functionality of the hand itself. The fingers still move and bend at the same places they did before. You can still fold these up and store them on the feet with the claws attached, just like you could before. It doesn't affect the functionality. And the benefit of this is if you ever decide, you know what, I'm going to take those off, or whatever, you don't want to mess with your toy, they just slide right off. They just pop right off the fingers here. It's just a separate piece. It just slides right on there. And I'll show you, and there's actually like several different pieces in the set, despite the fact that they could have been all be the same part. Here we go. So basically you've got the thumb cover here, which goes up here on the thumb. And that's just basically, there's a grip right here. There's a little, you can see there's a little divot inside there. I'm pointing with my pinky again. You just line that up so it matches the groove on the thumb here, and just snap that into place. Just like that. It just slides on like that. Now, the thumb piece, you'll notice it's flat here at the top. This cut at the top of the thumb piece, you can see the other ones have little hooks to fit around the finger. There's a little divot here, whereas on the thumb it's flat, and that's how you know this is the thumb piece. And you just slide that onto the thumb, and now he's got a pointy thumb. Now, when it comes to the individual fingers, there's one piece you'll see on this one. Like this one has the little divot on the top, so you know it's a finger piece. And then you'll notice the bottom flat piece is shorter than this. On the index finger, the bottom piece is slightly longer because of how the finger is bent. So you want to use that piece on the index finger, just like that. The other two pieces, two of them are exactly the same, and one is slightly shorter. And it's kind of hard to show that off on camera, but if you have them mostly flat, you'll see there's two that are about the same length and one that's just a little bit shorter there. This is going to be the pinky finger, and then these two can go on either of the middle fingers. And again, you just you can see there's the bent finger and the divot, and you just you throw it on the floor if you want, but I don't recommend it. You just take it and again just slide it onto the finger. Bring the next one up. Is this the short one? That's the short one. Okay, so this is the piece I want. Take it, slide it onto the finger, and then the pinky, it's a little easier to come around from the outside of the hand. Instead of trying to slide it past all these, just come to the outside of the hand, and again, you just slide it on just like the others. And now you've got him all clawed up. And like I said, it does add a little bit more bulk to the hands, which is it gives them more monstrous hands, I guess. And I feel like I said, I like the Professor Heisenberg ones just because they don't add as much bulk to the hands as these do. But these are a nice little option, like I said, if you don't want to permanently modify your figure or make it harder to change. And they look, and, from a distance, they look really good when you look at the whole thing. So there's the set of clawed hands from Professor Heisenberg. I think that set is $19.95. And you can pre-order it at places like TFsource and all that. I'll put a link down in the description. But that's what the claw hounds look like. And again, he doesn't lose the ability to hold the sword. He can still hold the sword. He can still store it in the feet. all that good stuff. They function just as they normally did. I'm trying to line this up without being able to see inside the hand. Come here, you. So you can still wrap his hand around the sword. You can still hold it just fine. Close the hand up around it. You're not losing any functionality there with the hands. Just makes him a little bit more menacing for those of you that wanted him. So let me pull these guys off of here, swap them into robot mode, and we'll look at the Royal Arsenal and those rifles and such. Alrighty, and we'll get on to the Royal Arsenal in just a second. First off, I just wanted to say, quick addendum. I'd seen pictures that it's supposedly made it look like it should fit. I was told that maybe it should fit, but apparently no. You cannot actually close up the fist and put them back on the thing with these claws attached, which makes it far less useful in my mind. Like, it's a neat idea, and I like the idea that you can put them on there without swapping them. And I guess since they don't fit, you can easily pop them off to transform them back into alt mode. But like, I'm not a big fan of add-on kits of more extra pieces. I like the fact that up to date Feral Rex has been fairly integrated, and it has this. And again, these are third-party sets for, add-on kits for a third-party figure. So yeah, Feral Rex as designed, even with a completion kit, it's extra pieces, but you can find places for all those pieces to go in all the modes, and everything stores well. These are just kind of extra pieces that, again, if you want to turn them back into non-combined mode, now you've got more extra and small pieces. So I feel like if you really want some claws to attach to your Feral Rex and you're going to be transforming him a lot, it may be more beneficial to get the Dr. Killinger set. Just because they can still fit on here, transform, store on the thing, and you don't have to keep popping them off like this, or risk losing them, because these are, they're not teensy tiny, but like something like that falls behind a dresser or whatever, you could get lost for a while. So yeah, just a heads up before we get any further, I want to make that addendum that in actual practicality, they do not stay on when you go into foot mode. And I should have tested that before I made that claim on video. But I did. I was intending to show it off, and then I couldn't. So I'll eat a little crow there. I just went on judgment and what I'd heard that they could stay attached. They cannot. Glad I found that out. So just so you know, before we go forward, you have to take the claws off. Makes the claw set a little less useful, unless you can keep track of all stuff. If you want to have a little bin, I just like not to have extra pieces lying around. And like I said, so far Feral Rex has not had that, even with the completion kit. But anyway, on to the rest of the Royal Arsenal. Here is Fortis with his new rifle, and that's all these are just guns now. This kit I think is $16.95. So he's got more of a G1 rifle here. His is they're all a little bigger than they were proportionally in G1 to the figures. But I think that, like, especially with Fortis, I love the way Fortis's gun looks with him. It's a nice big cannon. He should have a nice big cannon. Again, this is pieces that won't store in other modes, with the exception of Leodux's. But so yeah, but this is a nice. It's a good solid piece. The quality on all this stuff is great. And like I said, this is a nice gun. Although again, it's going to be an extra piece when you go into combined mode or animal mode. So there is Fortis. Here is Bovis with his little laser rifle there. You can see the difference between the two. One's kind of a big chunky cannon, one's like a laser rifle. Tigress with his little gun. Talon with his rifle. Although again, I like the guns that came with them originally, but these are nice additions if you want a more G1 look of all of them together. And then, of course, Leodux. Now, Leodux has his shoulder cannons. These, I feel, almost make the set worth it by themselves. I like them. They snap onto the combiner ports here on his shoulders instead of just folding them back. You can flip them out, which means you can leave these attached in alt mode and all this stuff. There's a couple, they slide on like this very easily, and then they click into place in between. And anywhere, like I said, when you click them into an angled position, they slide right off because they have little notches to slide over the connector ports. But anywhere in between, those connector ports provide resistance, and you can get some nice angle going on there. So yeah, he's got his shoulder cannons, and they actually look pretty decent. I'm pretty happy with these. And again, you can put them in line mode. Again, you'd have to set them aside like all the others for combined mode because all the ports are being used. But yeah, like I said, I think of the two sets, I'm much more enamored with these with the gun set here versus the claw set. But again, that's my personal preference. Your mileage may vary, but I do think for the value, like $16 for some nice big solid guns versus $20 for some tiny claw pieces that you have to take off to store the hands, seems a little already. But there's the whole group together with their new rifles and the Royal Arsenal. So yeah, there it is. That's the Royal Arsenal from Professor Heisenberg, as well as the King's Claw set from Professor Heisenberg. Both very neat ideas with varying success in execution. But yeah, you can get them at TFsource. Again, the links to both of them are down there in the video description. Click like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. And we should have some more stuff coming up for you later this week. I've got a big old box coming from Ami. I don't even want to say what I spent in Ami, but this month's box coming from Ami was huge and a lot of money, so there should be some cool stuff in there. But yeah, there you go. There's the Professor Heisenberg add-on kits for Mastermind Creations Feral Rex.